coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
I want people in the industry to be a little bit louder about people being mean to other people, and maybe say it's not a good thing.
He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. He's a smee. Hey.
Listen to what I'm saying, and you will understand, perhaps, what I'm trying to imply here.
That's very patronizing.
Yeah, I am being patronizing. I don't know who the you are, and you're over here chirping all the way from London about Palestine.
Stepping time!
Palestine!
Stepping time!
Palestine!
Stepping time! Stepping time! Come on, matey!
Palestine!
Stepping time! Stepping time! Stepping time!
Palestine!
Never need a reason, never need a rhyme, stepping time!
Palestine!
Get your knees up!
Go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them. With the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
But hey, that's just a theory. A theory.
Power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Down to Papa Roach, Bleed 182!
The power of one, the power of two, the power of...
Holy crap! Holy crap!
Engines roar through the ash gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. HyperDrive now, let's fucking go. HyperDrive time, we're burning the night. Blazing through shadows, our stories ignite. Will all the fans come ride with me as we laugh at foolish hypocrisy? HyperDrive time is now or it's never, as long as they rule. Let's fucking go forever. Forever. Oh, forever. Forever. Go forever.
Still got the settings on from Sweekend. Oops. Still got those settings on from the Sweekend stream last night. Of course, how professional. Ladies, gentlemen, and of course, nothing in between. Welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of sanity on another never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. Now, of course, as always, before we set off, make sure you keep your brains inside the vehicle at all times with your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. Who do we have here already today? Let's have a look what is going on. Sardoc is here, says hi, everybody. Or everyone, rather. And hello to you, too. And Derek Smith is here. Hi, everybody. Also, pre-like the stream. You see, this is a very important thing. This is a very important thing, especially in the heady days that we're living in, where YouTube continues to try to screw with us. I'm not quite sure what's going on at the moment, because some days you get absolutely no growth. Other days you get crazy and insane growth. The shadow banning is unpredictable as hell. So if you'd like to help me to help you, make sure to like that stream. And of course, Weston Huston is here as well. Hudson, excuse me, says, hail, bigot adjacents. That's us. We are the Grift Force, otherwise known as the bigot adjacents, I suppose. Very good, very good, very good. Sardoc says, Palestine. Yeah, that guy is such a fucking idiot. It's kind of unbelievable that he is still somehow taken seriously by anyone. But then so are other people as well. It's bonkers that JDA is taken serious. It's bonkers that Yorch is taken seriously. It's bonkers that anyone who champions any ideology, any zealotry, any radical certainty is taken in any way seriously. Because let's be honest, a little bit of humility goes a long, long way, especially these days. Kakawanos here, representing for the mods, and hello to you too. Thanks for being here. Roger Nichols, nice to see you. It's always a pleasure. And of course, Rio is here as well. Says evening, Will of the fans, Kagawana, Sardoc, Spamfish, Derek Smith. Very nice, very nice. As people start to pour in, we will get the show rolling. But of course, as I pointed out, if you are liking the stream, then please do remember,
Like the stream.
Further, don't forget that your in-flight entertainment can be found by hitting the join button to unlock those emojis, join the Grift Force, and of course help us out in all sorts of other ways. There will be a member stream coming over the next week or so. I was going to do one yesterday. Unfortunately, some things came up. It's just a little bit of a scheduling conflict at this point, but there will be one, of course, this month, as there must always be one every month for you lovely people with the green names in the chat, of course. And if you have any questions or any comments you would like me to pay attention to, or anything, you just can't take it anymore, you just had enough, you got a meltdown, you got to get something off your chest, or you just want me to answer a really awkward question, an FMK or a gun to my head choice, well, you know what to do. Tape it to a couple of bucks and throw it through my window. You never know. Just don't forget to tip your driver. With all of that said, we have a lot of things we're going to talk about today. We've got a bit of Snow White update, of course, the impending doom of the movie. The movie that never should have been, the movie that I don't think I've ever seen production hell happening right before my eyes like this. It has been going on for as long as the channel, and perhaps even longer than that. We got some stuff about the old Dragon Age release on PS Plus and the overwhelming unpopularity of it, which is just damn well hilarious, especially for someone whose first game was an old school Ninja Turtles game. Got some Monster Hunter Wilds, and of course a little bit of Naughty Dog trying to cope with the fact that no one is interested in anything that Neil Cuckman wants to make anymore. And, you know, just a little bit of a dive into the speculative world of whether or not the Jedi might have been a little bit communist, might have been a little bit EU. PU. Not Naughty Doge. No. No, there's a difference. I was very careful. I'm talking about Cuckman's company of absolute... you know what I mean. All right, but we're going to get started off, of course, because we've got a lot of things to talk about today, starting, of course, with the Snow White situation, because it's just embarrassing. Why they continue to push this movie, I just don't understand. I suppose a write-off for tax purposes would have made more sense, but, well, they just don't seem to be capable of it. It really is quite baffling. But I suppose at a certain point, you've put in too much money. Like, you just can't recoup expenses with a tax break. So you have no choice but to release the trash, just as you've got to do. And so fair enough, I suppose. Fair enough. But it does seem that Disney is now scaling back all the US premieres. I just don't see any going well. They cancelled the premiere in Leicester Square because they were too afraid of Rachel Zegler's stupid freaking mouth. Have you ever heard a story like this? Have you ever heard a story where even the company, especially a company like Disney that never really lets you know what's really going on, cannot do anything to hide from the fact that the biggest problem they have with this movie, even bigger than stupid ass Dinklage and his bitching about dwarves a couple of years ago, is just the alarming consistency of this young lady, supposedly, and her ability to open her mouth and bury this fucking movie. They just cannot allow her to talk in public. You're right. I can see you, Kira. It would have been cheaper to sack her a couple of years ago and hire somebody else to do the movie. It would have. But then, of course, remember, a couple of years ago, it was a different political climate. We didn't quite have the situation we have right now with the all-conquering heroes that are Trump and Musk. We didn't quite have that get-out-of-jail-free card for Disney. Somebody would have gone, Disney just fired a Latinx woman or a person, because, of course, no one on their side knows what a woman is, in order to hire somebody else, blah, 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 blah. I mean, hell, it would have been hilarious if they'd fired her and hired somebody who was like, you know, super duper black or something. Just, yeah, we'd all be mocking the hell out of it, but it wouldn't be the absolute poison that she has been to the movie at this point. Even Halle Bailey, yeah, the Little Mermaid actress, you know, even she, as controversial as that, the decision to cast a woman whose skin tone is based entirely on generations of being out in the sun as a woman who's barely ever seen it. As controversial as that was, that woman at least knew to shut up, take her blessings, and keep it closed for the good of the movie, for the good of the bank account. Rachel Zegler, I mean, will she ever work in Hollywood again? It doesn't look like it. She's got nothing on the docket. Nothing has been announced. No one is announcing anything to do with Rachel Zegler. She's going to end up in some kind of off-Broadway BS adaptation. That's going to be the rest of her career. I can't imagine she'll actually really ever be a thing, because no one will ever pay to see her unless it's, you know, to see her perhaps in the stocks or something along those lines. This woman, every time she opens her mouth, she makes an absolute fool of herself. And every time, hello, Adam Juman. And every time she opens her mouth, she makes a fool of everything and everyone that is associated with her. It calls into question the judgment of anyone who would even dare to entertain the idea of doing business with her, because she's so absolutely radioactive to any project that you might put her in. Totally manic. It's a difficult thing. They screwed themselves. I mean, she didn't do any of this stuff when she was in West Side Story, as far as I know. I think she just got, you know, her second or third major role in a Hollywood movie and figured it was probably okay to just become absolutely poisonous. Just let it all out, because she was so fucking sure, as so many leftists were a couple of years ago. They were, you know, they were thinking, oh, we're going to throw the former president in jail. No one's got anything to say. No one can stop us now. Ha 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 ha. She was sure it was just going to be the right side of history. To be a vacuous, venomous little toad of a pain in the ass virtue signaling bitch. I mean, we've seen it. It's so many women have completely felted themselves in the last couple of years with their stupid mouths. I mean, she's now joining the ranks of Rosie O'Donnell, Ellen DeGeneres, Alyssa Mercante. Just dumb, vacuous bitches who are now finding out what happens when you fuck around. Yeah, I think there's been a lot of lawsuit shit going on against Trump lately, and it's just nothing. It's never going anywhere. So yeah, at this point, Disney has no choice. They've got no choice. They have had to pull so many weird and wacky maneuvers with this movie, from straight up canceling the British premiere, which is weird. Actually, that makes less sense because England at the moment is stuck under the rule of an oppressive communist dictator. So, that's I'm being marginally facetious there, but I mean, that is more or less what Starmer would like to be if he could. But I don't want to be accused of using the same kind of incendiary rhetoric as the radical poisoned left. But it would have probably been easier to premiere the movie there than in America right now. But I guess they had to. It is right in their backyard. They've scaled back the premiere in their own backyard, and they are not selling any bloody tickets. We saw this. So let's have a look at this article anyway. This one comes from That Park Place, of course, with this wonderful picture that everyone keeps using of Zegler looking just completely lost. And, of course, on her knees, which is obviously how she keeps getting jobs. But, well, we'll find out. With just days to go before the release of its live-action Snow White remake, Disney is drastically reducing its usual Hollywood premiere spectacle. The studio is still hosting an event on March 15th at the El Capitan Theater, but it won't include the extensive red carpet and media presence typically associated with a major Disney release. Yeah, you've seen it. We've all seen these kinds of things, these big gala events, red carpet, who are you wearing, and all that Joan Rivers crap. Although she was pretty based, as it turns out. It's just the way things are done in Hollywood. It's the way it's been forever. The absence of that event is extremely conspicuous. I think we can all tell. So what are they going to do instead? Well, it seems that only photographers and a house crew will be allowed to cover the event, with no traditional press interviews taking place. Just all because this stupid, ridiculous little bint could not shut her fucking cave about Palestine or any of the other rubbish. I mean, she has thrown the original movie under the bus. She has thrown everything under the bus. She's thrown Disney under the bus. She's thrown the Prince under the bus. She's thrown Snow White under the bus. She's thrown The Greatest Generation under the bus. Just everything she said. And then, of course, she's had the temerity to try to backpedal, to try to act like she's the female version of Henry Cavill, and just say like, well, I just interpret the fan backlash as passion. No, you don't, you lying little cur. No, you fucking don't. You have angered and baited the fans all the way along. No one believes anything you try to say now as damage control, because we all saw you. We all saw you in all those interviews. Weird. It's Hollywood, baby. We all saw all that crap. You know that, right? Zegler, we saw you. It was before we had the technology to do an AI ripoff version of you. These are things we know you really said. We know you said them. We also know that you threw Snow White under the bus. Oh, very evidently so. That it was made in 1937. Yeah. Yeah. What's wrong with that? There's a lot of things about that generation and their attitudes that would be very welcome to make a comeback, especially in this day and age with people like you running around firing off at the mouth about any bloody thing you choose, you stupid little bitch. Ah, gotta love the caffeine. Anyway, there you go. So Zegler just can't help herself at this point. Just can't help herself, and no one trusts her anymore. Disney doesn't trust her. Disney will not let this entitled, empowered little madam speak in public. What an indictment. What a fucking shit show. It's genuinely just amazing. No one's going to watch this. We can see the ticket sales. They are abysmal. In the dine-in theaters that are directly under Disney, they're selling like 12% at best of the total sitting audience space. No one wants to see this fucking movie. It absolutely has to become just one of the all-time box office bombs. And if it doesn't, there's something terribly wrong. I mean, logic dictates at this point that this is Disney felting themselves. The only way this movie is going to make any money is if Disney pays for the tickets themselves, in which case they won't make any money. So who cares? John Grant is here, drops $5 on the table and says absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. But fills up 10% of the bar. Definitely wants that Suikoden scream. Thank you very much, John Grant. Absolute legend. Could have said something, but hey, appreciate you anyway, man. Thank you very much. Wait, tickets are actually being sold to who? Well, to Disney corporate staff, maybe. I genuinely have no idea who the hell would buy tickets to see this movie. It's not like when they released Captain America, there's still some holdouts. And it's not like what I guess even Ryan was saying on WTF Live all those times, that like normies and women are going to drag people to see this movie. Apparently they're not interested either. We'll find out. There's still every chance that this could be obfuscated and confused and allowed to make to spin a narrative along the lines of it actually making in some money. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think anyone would believe it. Too many people are paying attention these days. There are hundreds of YouTubers that just like to follow the fuck-ups of Disney. So, I mean, try if you like. Try, but I don't think it'll work. I mean, yeah, exactly. They basically... We saw this with Captain America, fucking hell. Captain Marvel, when Brie Larson had said her piece, there were all kinds of unexplained, sudden, full theaters where employees from those theaters were saying, well, the tickets were bought, but nobody turned up. I wonder who was buying them. Couldn't possibly speculate, you know. But I think we all know. Anyway, that wouldn't be a wise idea. At this point, Disney needs to just push this fucking movie out, let it bomb, take their lumps and move on. If they were to actually start throwing tens of millions of dollars at a time into trying to fill up theaters just to be able to say this is extremely popular, it's their own money they're spending. That would be like me buying super chats for myself. We just might as well hand YouTube 30%. This is fucking nonsense. Because don't forget, guys, this movie by now has to have a budget over $400 million. Add to that marketing distribution costs. This movie needs to push past 2/3 to 3/4 of $1 billion to break even. And that would be just for us to be able to see numbers that look vaguely like they're breaking even. In fact, Disney still would lose money in that scenario because they lose money on marketing and distribution in other ways. Like, for example, the fact that a theater is not going to just show your movie for free. You have to pay that theater to do it. You have to give them their cut, which means that maybe in America, you'll get a bad deal. But in other countries, you're going to make 20%, 30%, 40% of ticket sales back. If we were to be as generous as we possibly could be and say globally, Disney would make 50% of ticket sales back, which they probably wouldn't. They are still felted, absolutely destroyed, bankrupt, bust. If they don't make $1 billion with this movie, and there's just no way this movie makes $1 billion. Just no way, unless suddenly the CCP show up and tell everybody in that country to go and see this movie under threat, under duress. There's no way it's going to make any bloody money. It has to flop. There is no logical other fate that can await this movie besides that. It's going to be a very interesting week in about 10 days' time, less than 10 days' time, probably, or around about 10 days' time. We're going to be looking at the player numbers for Assassin's Creed Shadows and the box office for Snow White at the same time. Damn. I'm never going to sleep. Anyway, Disney has not commented on this shift, but even Variety acknowledges that this decision comes amid ongoing controversy surrounding the film. The move follows months of backlash and marketing missteps, making it clear that Disney is playing defense as the film nears its March 21st theatrical release. Cheers, bitch. Never go full Mong. You know it. That still cracks me up. I haven't heard that word since like high school, seriously. And I actually remember one particular girl that I used to go to school with who always called everybody a Mong. It'll be lucky to make 100 million. I mean, in which case it's lost 500 million, 600 million. We don't know. Ryan is a legend. Well, don't let B-Man hear you say that. In the past, Disney has gone all out for live action remakes. Exactly. This is what we see every day, every year anyway. Whenever Disney releases one of their ridiculous, unnecessary, unrequested, unwarranted, and unwanted live action remakes, they pretty much have no choice but to push the marketing, especially internationally, as hard as they freaking can. The full power and the full might of the Disney marketing machine has to come in and be barreling ahead to push these fucking movies, because otherwise no one's interested. Kids don't care. It's not like it was 100 years ago. It's not like it was 60 years. It's not like it was 40 years ago, where kids will be like, "Ooh, new Disney movie, yay!" No, it's like, "Oh, new movie. I don't care about that. I'm busy watching Skibbity Toilet." The guy who made Skibbity Toilet is going to make more money and has made more money than Snow White will make. You bet on that. That's just an interesting concept. I just realized it's probably true. Anyway, yeah, so obviously it's the MO of these kind of releases that they will go all out with the marketing, with the media events, with everything. You get that absolute moron from, what is it, Vogue or one of those magazines? You know that guy, the guy that's always there. I can't think what his name is anymore. The guy with the glasses. He's got that weird voice like this, and he's always like, "Oh, is it true that this is the gayest Disney property ever?" And everyone's like, "Yeah, we're so super gay." And the actual gays hate that. I know they do. I know, because my friends who are gay tell me that regularly. Whether they're friends through the channel or friends through real life, they tell me, "Man, I fucking hate all this pandering shit. Just leave us alone." Anyway, with elaborate red carpet events, numerous interviews, and a media blitz to build hype, yeah, this isn't going to be so much as of a media blitz as like a media over 60s reenactment of the Blitz. Cringe. The decision to scale back this aspect of Snow White signals a lack of confidence in the film's reception. Understatement of the century, but still very, very valid. Yeah, absolutely. Dirt Brown comes out on the 21st. Yes. Yes, it does. Dirt Brown. That is someone who don't give a fuck right there in chat. For context, even underperforming Disney films have received full red carpet treatment. Yeah, I mean, what are they? I mean, what do they think Zeggles is going to do next? I mean, you're going to get her out there with Gal Gadot, and then she just sort of leaps into the air and cuts down Gadot for being an Israeli. I mean, what else? It's like in the latest trailer I put in the comments, the funniest part of the song is when she yells Allahu Akbar and, you know, death to the infidels and all that stuff. The virtue signaling, the misguided, brainwashed virtue signaling of these unbelievable little morons. These barely out of their nappies little bastards. Left, right, and center, virtue signaling about things they have no idea about. No idea. Has got to the point where you can't let them actually free to say anything in public. This is what you have. This is what you reap, okay, Disney, for sowing all your confidence in the little socialists. That's what you get. It's gonna be the undoing of Hollywood. It will. I mean, it already kind of is. I mean, even when they were having all those strikes, which they're now blaming, like COVID, which they're still somehow blaming for poor box office receipts. That and all this other stuff, they just continue. It's mind blowing, actually, guys. It's mind blowing that they allow these people to become so stupid, and then what do they expect? You can't have these people who, even when they're on strike, are going out there and making complaints about having to wear the costume of the character they've been hired to portray. Zeggles is out there going, if I have to wear the Snow White costume for 18 hours, then I deserve to be paid for every second that it is streamed. Is that what you think, dear? Is that what you think? Is that in the planet of money trees? Because it certainly ain't in the real world. You fucking little moron. Unbelievable. These people, they come out of like the school system, if they even ever saw a day inside school in Hollywood. I mean, most people, like Gervais said, they spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So they haven't got a bloody clue about the real world. By the time they get out, they've got honorary degrees. They've been promoted and had so much smoke blown up their asses, they don't think they can get anything wrong. This is the machine of the left, creating gullible idiots that ultimately end up costing them money. And it's the old predictable reality that we've always said. You cannot be a profit-driven, for-profit company that deals exclusively in socialism. This just doesn't work. It's that probably that very one core concept that pulled so many people out of the Matrix in the first place. I remember for me, I was like, what are they going on about? What is Lucasfilm going on about? That's not going to work. You can't say the Force is female and still actually make some money on a Star Wars movie. 90% of the Star Wars fandom is male. It's the same thing with this. You can't have a profitable Snow White movie where the woman playing Snow White is neither white nor very pure, as it turns out, in public. There you go. Captain America Brave New World, despite concerns over its potential box office performance, still had a high-profile rollout. Yeah, with Snow White, Disney is seemingly keeping things low-key. That's a move that only raises more questions about the film's prospects. This is what I've been saying all along. Me and Ryan have kind of like an unofficial contest going over whether Cap or Snow White will do worse. And I've been saying Snow White since day dot. It would be kind of interesting if it turns out that Snow White officially ends up doing better than Captain America Brave New World, but I'd be very surprised at this point. Very surprised. They're not willing to pay for the theaters. So they're automatically limiting how many people will be able to see this film. I don't know, but I want to see what they do internationally. There are cinemas all over this place where I live. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone actually goes and sees this movie here. Rachel Zegler remains absent from US media. This premiere downgrade aligns with Disney's broader approach to limiting Snow White's exposure. As previously reported, lead actress Rachel Zegler has been noticeably absent from American press appearances. Yeah, because at any moment, she may just throw an active grenade at them, back at the company that pushed her out there in the first place. You never know. They might. They might. Dividing Dragon here, of course, now a mod as well, himself in his own right, reminding you kindly to
Like the stream.
Absolutely right. Like the stream, guys. Make sure you do like the stream. It helps other people to find it, which, of course, means more folks for you to talk to as we barrel along. And also help me to fill up this lovely red bar here so that I can do more gaming streams for you. We need to finish a game and a bit in the next 10 days, apparently, in time to be able to play Assassin's Creed Shadows, which was gifted to me. Thank you very much. I think HeavenlyJester, wasn't it? Yeah. And I say that in air quotes. Anyway, yeah, she's not on the press tour. She's not in any American media at the moment. Instead, Disney sent her on her scripted, highly controlled press tour in Japan, a country they just made the bad guys, or at least the opponents of America in Captain America. But I guess Japan is pretty much just happy that this movie isn't displaying images of people barreling into their Shinto shrines and fucking up their altars, because that's what they're facing with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So maybe it's worth marketing this movie in Japan, because nobody's going to be spending any money on Assassin's Creed in Japan. Maybe they can spend it on a Disney movie instead. But she was unlikely to face tough questions about her past comments or the film's creative direction. Yeah, well, I mean, the Japanese are like that, aren't they? They're not very quick to raise questions about controversy. This is a stark contrast to how Disney promotes its other high-profile films. Yep, sure is. Usually, the lead star is front and center in talk shows, interviews, and press junkets leading up to the release. The decision to keep Zegler largely away from the American media suggests the studio is trying to prevent further controversy. There it is. Film has faced intense scrutiny from the start. It's actually baffling to try and recap. Whenever I make a video about this, I actually struggle. It's the same as when I make a video about Assassin's Creed or Doctor Who or any of these other things where there's just like an incredible list of fucking terrible, cancerous business decisions. It's like, okay, how can I remember every single thing? Like, I'm going to actually have to start making documents with bullet points of every terrible, stupid thing that happens in relation to one of these properties. And we noticed that there's a big difference now between now and like 4 years ago, even. Like, things that are on their way out in terms of about to be released to the public have whole litanies, like sagas of corporate fuck-ups behind them. It's really kind of incredible. Like, just to remember that, like, two and a bit years ago, when I made my first appearance on Saturday Night Hypnosis, for example, we were looking at the pictures of those weird sort of bandit-looking dudes roaming through the grass in Bedfordshire, England, I think, and laughing at that. And still at that point, Zegler hadn't said half the crazy shit that she would end up saying. I don't even think Dwarfgate had happened yet then. No, Dwarfgate had already happened. That's right. That was the first really big, terrible thing. I don't think Peter Dinklage is gonna ever expect to get another role at Disney. No chance in hell. But anyway, yeah, many longtime Disney fans expressed frustration over changes to the classic Snow White story, of course, particularly the decision to replace the 7 dwarves with a mixed group of characters. Peter Dinklage criticized the film's original portrayal of little people, leading Disney to overhaul that aspect of the movie, which only fueled further debate. When fans pushed back on the 7 diverse individuals, they replaced them with 7 CGI characters that have been the subject of fan ridicule. We've never actually seen any kind of follow-up to the 7 diverse characters that we saw walking through a field, apparently with Snow White, which means that that is actually what it was, isn't it? That is actually what they were shooting at the time. You might not even remember anymore, folks, but let me have a look and see if I can pull it up for you. Because it's actually, again, it's another one of these stories that's freaking baffling to recall. The fact that there were these people filmed, captured, walking through a field. And, well, let's have a look. Just for our own, comparative research. So these guys were here, and they were standing in a field. They were caught standing in a field with a woman playing a body double of Snow White. This is ages ago now. When was this? 14th of July, 2023. It was before that this happened, but okay. And, I mean, do any of them look remotely like these? Are their costumes even slightly similar? No. So there was a time when these people, or at least the people who were going to be dressed the same, were going to be the 7 dwarves. There's no way that's not the case, because we've never been given a follow-up on what the hell they actually were doing. If they weren't, they were the dwarves. Come on. Otherwise, Disney released a statement. What the hell were those guys? What the hell was that supposed to be? No answer. Nothing. Then it was Zegler's own approach to the role. Her dismissive remarks about the 1937 animated film, called it dated, portraying the prince as a problematic stalker, sparked backlash. Many felt she was insulting the legacy of Disney's probably most iconic film, further alienating audiences, blah, 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 blah. Then she, of course, went and got involved in the conflict in the Middle East, and then told people who voted for Trump, which represents more than half the country, to know no peace. This is the absolute fucking hole in one. I was trying to think of a decent analogy for it, and a home run's not enough. A hole in one from another golf course. That, like, the things that have lined up to ensure this film has no fucking power, no clout, no fans, no money coming in whatsoever is astonishing. So now, of course, they are predicting between 48 and 58 million dollars opening weekend, which would be one of Disney's lowest live action openings of all time. A grand slam, yeah, a grand slam as well. Yeah, you have to have lined up just the most perfect list of achievements in order to have fucked up this spectacularly. So yeah, it's obviously damage control. What can Disney learn from this? They probably won't learn anything. It's too late. Maybe they'll learn to stop casting, you know, entitled little leftists in their films. But, you know, that really depends on who's still working at Disney, whose ideology is still prevalent at Disney, and everything else associated with that. This film is toast. Not a chance in hell. Sip of tea. Okay, gulp of tea. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you so much. We are going to move on to the next topic because this one is just as embarrassing. Just as embarrassing. What comes to us from the gaming world, one that we are mostly familiar with. And it turns out that you can't even give away Dragon Age the Veilguard. You cannot even give away the Trans Simulator from 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, and nothing in between, if you did not buy this game, if you did not pick it up for free, if you have not got a copy of this game to your name, take a fucking bow, because you deserve it. It is one of the funniest stories pretty much ever, I think, in terms of gaming backlash, and more proof that Gamergate is winning, more proof that Gamergate is united, more proof that, and this is one that's going to probably get me in some trouble, the Tranoid agenda is being roundly and soundly ejected from society. It is. There's no other way around it. There's no bigger reason this game failed. More people might have given it at least a chance if it was just a bit of a wanky game. But nah, it was a wanky game. It was also trying to tell you, hey, have you considered the virtues and merits of cutting off your genitalia? Oh, Jesus Christ, that's what they were actually doing. I mean, there can be no one more humiliated in the world whenever this game is mentioned than the retard who made it. And then cringe the fake Minge Bush. More PS Plus subscribers played old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games than Dragon Age. Now, I know I have a personal little connection to this. My first ever game, the game that got me into gaming, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan on Game Boy. That is the reason I wanted a Game Boy. It was so important to me. I was such a big Turtles fan when I was like 3, 4, 5, even 6 and 7 years old, that I needed to play that game. My cousins had it. I wanted it. My parents found a way to get me a Game Boy and get me a copy of it. You own that as well? Yeah, you did. Legend. Legend. No doubt. Anyway, so the Cowabunga collection is a thing. I own it on Steam already, so no one feel obliged to gift it to me, although you can help me fill the bar. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Cowabunga Collection has had the biggest PS Plus Essential debut in the March 2025 lineup, surpassing the big headline PS5 game. So this means that because they released, what was it again that they released? I can't remember what they released on PS4 exclusive, but that was better too. With Dragon Age the Veilguard having released for PS5 less than 6 months ago, you're being a little bit kind there, True Trophies. I think you'll find that it's barely 3 months ago. It's 3.5 months old, this game. It came out on Halloween, and everyone seems to forget this. I've been watching a lot of people covering this story, and no one seems to remember when the game came out. I remember it came out on Halloween because, well, that's when all the freaks come out. But anyway, with Dragon Age Veilguard having released for PS5 less than 6 months ago, you might have thought it would easily draw the most attention during March 2025's PS Plus monthly games. No, only a true moron would have thought that that would have made a difference. This game wasn't just ignored. This game wasn't just overlooked. This game was out and out rejected. Like, no thank you. No thank you, BioWare. No thank you, Electronic Arts. We do not want it. We are actively telling you no. Not only, nah, not now, or nah, maybe later, or when it's cheaper, or when it's free. Never do this again, game industry. Or the same fate will await you. Not so, as it happens. Instead, it looks like more subscribers felt like revisiting some arcade classics while they can still grab Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection on PS Plus Essential. I mean, it's a more perfect game to have destroyed Dragon Age the Veilguard. Could there be a more perfect game? I mean, we are talking about a collection of NES, SNES, and Game Boy games. If you play the Cowabunga collection, right, there's not any remastering been done to these Game Boy games. They are in black and white. They are as they were released on Game Boy. There's no update to the Nintendo games. There's no update to the Super Nintendo games. You've got basically all the old Turtles games. Now, maybe a lot of people are going to go, wow, that's cool. I like Ninja Turtles. And there's like a billion games in this pack. But it's just like people would rather play. I mean, people would actually rather play like a 36-year-old game with less than 8-bit graphics, with dot matrix graphics, than Dragon Age the Veilguard. Like, really contextualize that in your head. Wash that around your head. There is no other way to frame this other than an absolute rebuke. Konami's collection of TNMT games was the most popular among the PS Plus March 2025 lineup. Fantastic. Fuck it, let's watch the trailer for it. It's glorious. It's only... Oh. Turtles in Time, there's NES Turtles 2, Turtles 3, Tournament Fighters, Arcade again. Fucking phenomenal games. There's the original NES Turtles that was so brutally difficult. All of the Foot Clan's not even in the trailer, but it's in there. Man. What a fucking misreading of the room. Anyway, there you go. 8.2% more players booted up the Cowabunga collection over the relatively recent Dragon Age of Veilguard. It probably helped that those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga trophies, are very easy to unlock. Ah, don't be a dick. It's not that, buddy. It's that you released ancient Ninja Turtles games opposite what EA thought would be their tentpole for the next couple of years. It should have been 100-1 if the market was anywhere near what you guys actually thought it would be. Using a gameplay data sample from over 3.4 million active PSN accounts, courtesy of partnership with Game Trends, which draws most of its PSN data from sources beyond True Trophies, track the player count of every PS5 and PS4 game to produce a weekly PlayStation chart. On this week's chart, the Split Fiction is number 24th, strong debut, but also 3 PS Plus monthly games for March 2025. So the free games. Sonic Colors, that was it. Number 20. Dragon Age Veilguard 15, and just ahead of it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection at 14. And don't forget that Veilguard also will have still an install base of absolute Muppets that actually bought and paid for the game. So there you go. Yes, despite the latest Dragon Age RPG having basically just launched on the PS5, the AAA BioWare adventure couldn't quite compete with the popularity of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. By the end of the week, 8.2% more PS Plus subscribers had booted up the Cowabunga collection. There's no way they can use trophies to assess whether people actually bought or whether they received Dragon Age Veilguard for free. I guess unless you have people who have just now got the first trophy of Dragon Age Veilguard. Maybe you could do that. 45.7% more PS Plus subscribers chose to check out Konami's collection of classic Turtles arcades rather than Sonic Colors. I mean, what do you want me to say? These games are classics. I would rather play them. Certainly. I mean, I own this. I bought it. The Cowabunga collection. Pretty sure I did. Anyway, it was on sale one day and I picked it up. I also got Shredder's Revenge. I'm always going to be a Turtles fan. No question. Dragon Age Veilguard? No, I still don't have it. I think I have the... Yeah, I've got the character creator because I thought at one point it might be funny to make my own monstrous abomination. Probably changed my mind soon after that, though. Anyway, there you go. It's just the final nail in the coffin of this embarrassment of a game launch. People would rather play 36-year-old pixelated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games than actually touch a Dragon Age 2024 AAA 10 years in development, well, 9 years in development. Fucking action RPG. There's something seriously wrong and yet also very, very right in gaming. For the record, this is what Fall of the Foot Clan looks like. Just imagine green and yellow instead of black and white. And you pretty much got it. That's the game. It's one of the many games that is absolutely kicking the fucking ass of Cringe the Fake Minge Bush's latest and EA's and BioWare's latest offering. I mean, where do you even start? Fantastic. Fantastic. This is why Gamergate is undefeated, by the way. Because I think, you know, everyone was sick and tired of the journalism thing. Now everybody was sick and tired of the AAA journalism and media marketing and etc. coalition that seeks to give you a blow to the head every time a game comes out and make you feel bad for not buying a game. We just don't care anymore. We just genuinely do not care anymore. We'll just say no. Play your backlogs. Do it. Play your backlogs. Play the games that you used to own or the games that you still own on cartridge. You can emulate them legally. Play them. Play everything. Everything and anything except modern woke garbage. There you go. There you go. Anyway, there you go. We are about halfway through the show at this point. Hope you're enjoying it. We're going to move on to a couple of other topics. There's still a few things we need to talk about, including the absolute felting of Neil Cuckman. But of course, as we move on, don't forget to like the stream, guys. If you are enjoying the show, please, it does help very much to help other people to find it, which helps me to help you.
Like the stream.
And of course, don't forget to help fill up this bar if you would like a gaming stream a little later on. I'm trying to push through 2 JRPGs in the space of 1 month. So all the help I can get, really. All right, then, let's get over to bounding into comics for the next subject of the show. We are going to talk a little bit about how Monster Hunter Wilds is now the fastest selling Capcom game, apparently, which I did not expect to hear, because Capcom has a long and illustrious history. I mean, this is the company that made Street Fighter, Resident Evil as series. So I'm not sure if there's an asterisk here or not. I like to go in semi-blind. But let's find out. Monster Hunter Wilds has come out of the gate swinging. Capcom announced the game has sold over 8 million units in its first 3 days on sale. Actually, yeah, Jesus, that is a lot. That is a fucking incredible amount. How come you guys are in the chat naming old P2P file sharing software? Like the illegal kind. So anyway, yeah, I mean, let's look at this again. We can compare it to Dragon Age Veilguard, remember, because Dragon Age Veilguard was courting a 10 million sales figure. They didn't necessarily need to get that straight away, but they did need to get that in order for the game to actually recoup expenses. And ultimately, they ended up with a player base of around 1 million players, which is not the same as 1 million sales. Remember, Game Pass, EA Play, free with graphics cards. All those things serve to mitigate the impact of that game. You're never going to get to 10 million if you can't get to 1 million in a month. Conversely, Monster Hunter Wilds, 8 million in 3 days. And this, of course, is all because of Kira gifting the game to everybody and sundry. Capcom announced that the game has sold over 8 million units in the first 3 days on sale since February 28th. This is the fastest selling Capcom title to reach the milestone, and it secures the title as the fastest selling Capcom game to date. Wow. What an achievement. That is a big achievement. Capcom is not shy of a few mega successful franchises. Fucking amazing. I still want to play that too. Per the official statement on Capcom's investor relations website, the Japanese developer explained how they promoted the appeal of Monster Hunter Wilds to a broad audience worldwide. And we've seen this, of course. So many people reeing and screeching about the fact that this game has made so very, very much money. And games like Veilguard have made no money whatsoever. They lost money. We saw it in that article from The Gamer. The Endymion video that covered it was very good too. Just trying to understand, just trying to comprehend how and why this game, which is not a Western game, is selling so well to Western audiences. Well, I can give you a couple of reasons for that. First of all, Western audiences largely grew up playing Eastern games. Maybe you had a Sinclair, maybe you had an Amstrad, maybe you had an Atari or an Amiga or whatever. But basically everybody from that third generation console generation was playing Nintendo or Sega, both Japanese. So all games used to come from Japan, basically, in the eyes of gamers. Even the ones that probably came out of the West, people thought came from Japan. That's what we all believed. Oh, the games are coming out of Japan. That was it. All the biggest games came out of Japan. Mario came out of Japan. Sega, Sonic came out of Japan. Zelda came out of Japan. Final Fantasy came out of Japan. Fucking everything came out of Japan. Castlevania came out of Japan. Metroid came out of Japan. Everything. Everything that anyone was playing was coming out of Japan. All those Turtle games from Konami. Japanese. So yeah, a lot of people grew up playing Japanese games on their Western consoles, which were, of course, also Japanese made. So it should be no surprise to anyone that the West is still very, very, very ready to engage with Eastern video games. But the modern Western games media haven't got a fucking clue about video games. They don't know anything about them. They really genuinely don't have a damn clue. All they understand is their socialism. So there's that. But there you go. So it's been a lot of coping and seething, trying to understand why Western games are getting overlooked at the moment in favor of Eastern games. And it's quite simple, really. We all used to like playing Eastern games pretty much exclusively. The rise of Western gaming didn't come about until PS1, really successfully. PS1 was the kind of the dawn of Western game studios, and PC, of course. But it's very easy for us to just go back to only playing games from Japan. If those games are allowing us to play in worlds that are untouched by the great corruption of social and cultural Marxism. Why would we have any issue with playing a Japanese game where there's a gorgeous looking anime chick or realistic chick or whatever, and a man is a man, a woman is a woman? None of that matters. Let's kill the evil guy and save the world. Whereas, what do we get from the West? Well, again, you get pulling baths and trans scars and kids. We just don't care about this shit. The West is dead. But there you go. Anyway, so yeah, per the official statement, the Japanese developer explained how they promoted the appeal of Monster Hunter Wilds to a broad audience worldwide. Well, yeah, because Japan's fucking reputation for making quality games is untouched. It's unspoiled, mostly. Maybe your Square Enixes and such with their trust and safety departments are aware that they are fucking poisoning the well. But who really knows? Exhibiting the title at global video game events and also holding an online open beta test to give many players a chance to try it, while also providing updates on game information via the online events such as Monster Hunter Wilds Showcase, Capcom boasted. As a result of these continuous global initiatives, Monster Hunter Wilds has evoked massive excitement and achieved sales of 8 million units in 3 days, the fastest any game has done so in Capcom's history. Timu has? Yeah. Capcom remains firmly committed to satisfying the expectations of all users by leveraging its industry-leading game development capabilities, blah, 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 corpo speak bullshit. There's a very simple reason why this game is so popular. Gamers are currently in the process of besieging the industry that makes our games in the West. We are gatekeeping the fuck out of them. We are gamergating again. That's what we're up to at the moment. There's a reason the words Gamergate don't appear in any media articles anymore, and that's because they tried to, they sowed the seeds for Gamergate 2, and when Gamergate 2, it's that old expression, the one that I literally used from a Sargon video recently, sow the wind, reap the whirlwind. You guys blew your fans of DEI, and when the whirlwind came back and told you to go fuck yourselves, you weren't ready. Every major Western game studio is currently besieged by gamers who will not fucking allow themselves to buy this trash. But Eastern games still, as I said, remain mostly unaffected. We know the ones that are affected. They're pretty much all just coming out of Square Enix. And a little bit from Capcom. But when Capcom gets down to business, makes a Monster Hunter game, and of course, it doesn't hurt that they put a reasonably attractive looking woman with some cleavage in the marketing, you're going to make some money. Unlike the West. So there you go. It turns out that gamers, and I know this, like, people have been getting on Grums for that tweet he made like last week or whatever, where it's like, don't underestimate gamers. we were beating bosses and toppling empires for centuries, or decades rather. I said that at the very beginning of Gamergate. Don't underestimate us. We are just that pissed off enough now that we will finally remind each other we're not just going after the journalists this time. This time it is the AAA Western game industry itself. Boycott. Avoid. You do not need it. What am I playing right now? A 30-year-old JRPG. An absolute beast of a classic. Suikoden M1. That is what is on the docket at the moment when the bar is full and I get gaming again. And every time that bar fills up, I come back and I do 2 or 3 hours on Suikoden for you guys. And everyone seems to be very much enjoying it. Meanwhile, Western game studios are sacking all their employees, hemorrhaging money, and closing. Because they're not focused on the games. They're not focused on the gamers. They're not listening to us. They're actively opposing us, and we've had enough of it. That is what Gamergate 2 is. The sequel to Gamergate 1. Where the journalists are just the tip of the iceberg. Now we see the rot. Now we see all the rot and how far it goes. Well, we think we know how far it goes. It could go a lot deeper than that, but we don't know. But we have been spending a few years now watching as every area of life is affected by an insidious Marxist agenda. And we're fucking sick of it. Movies are tanking. Comic books are tanking. Hell, prose is tanking. Video games are no different. Why should they be? We've had enough. Stop treating us like idiots. Stop lying to us about biology. Stop doing all this shit. Or we will go elsewhere. There is an alternative. It's the same alternative that has been there the whole time and hasn't changed in 30 years. Mostly. And that is Eastern games. Should be so very obvious. And yet so many alleged journalism websites cannot wrap their heads around it. It's like, let them eat cake, you know? Not that I'm necessarily on board with everything that went down in the French Revolution. Because that was definitely a leftist thing. Eben Terblanche, hopefully I spelled that right. Pronounced that right. Has gifted 1 Will of the Fans membership. Thank you. Thank you very much. And someone out there is very lucky right now. Who says, pleasure, got mine for free. All right. Good for you. Well, hopefully you'll stick around. Thank you very much. You did very well, Will of the Fans. Thank you. Appreciate it. Along with betas and well-timed drops of information, Wilds has its own legacy to thank as well. Per the Capcom Platinum titles list, games that have sold over 1 million units, the Monster Hunter series has sold a total of 98.8 million units. It should be noted that Wilds isn't even on the list yet. Right. Heavy hitters include Monster Hunter World, 21 million units, the Iceborne DLC, and Monster Hunter Rise. 16.7, nearly 17 million units. It's an extremely popular franchise. People even play it here, where hardly anyone has a game console and most people just play mobile games. Still popular. I've seen people playing it. Critics have given Monster Hunter Wilds near universal acclaim, praising its accessibility and streamlining for new players, even with the bugs that have happened on PC. Some even called it an evolution of and the best game in the series. Although some other people are saying it's been simplified a little too much and stuff like that. The game was also praised for gorgeous graphics. So yeah, guess what? When you focus on gameplay and fun is the other one that never gets enough mention. Fun. The game is fun. I haven't seen anybody playing it that wasn't periodically grinning. There you go. Games. Imagine that. Games being fun. Even taken out of context. Any game, not even just video games. Games should be fun. There you go. And they've made it a little bit simpler, a little bit easier to get more broader mass appeal, but without sacrificing the core concept. I want to play this. I have it. Thank you, Kira. And there you go. There is a trend here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games from 30 years ago are stomping on Dragon Age Veilguard, even when Dragon Age Veilguard is being given away for free now. And Monster Hunter Wilds is a roaring rampage of success. It's so very obvious. Even I'm not even going to go ahead and say that I'm speculating about this because I know I'm right. I know I'm right because I've been a gamer for the better part of 40 years. I know what we all used to play. I know the sentiment that gamers currently have towards their Western studios and the way we're being treated by them. This is just the natural conclusion of that. So there you go. Madness. Madness that they don't understand it. There were a few more divisive among gamers. Things were a few more divisive among gamers. A little more divisive among gamers, however. They criticized the lackluster story, the gameplay being more monotonous and easy. Others praised the new monsters, fluid combat, or found the difficulty appropriate. Yeah, fair ugh. PC reviews are currently very poor due to being unoptimized. Steam reviews are mixed, further hindered by Denuvo. Ugh. And even the positive ones mentioned the poor performance. Fans had hoped a typo discovered in the config files was the solution, but this was consistent with the rest of the game's coding, and fixing it would not have any effect. It will get fixed. It will be okay. And still, there are people out there. I know James Opp is having a great time with this, having no problems playing it. Smash JT hasn't encountered any bugs, but Hypnotic has. So, there you go. They'll get to it. See how willing we are to give the benefit of the doubt to Eastern game studios, while simultaneously crucifying Western game studios. There you go. It's madness. So there you go. Congratulations to Monster Hunter Wilds. It's all going very, 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 very well. You'll love to see it. And there it is. Now, onward then to a Western game. Intergalactic. The Heretic Prophet. This one comes from Smash JT. It says, Neil Druckmann tells all, Naughty Dog's Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet is a woke religious mess. There we go. Just like that, we're back. Back in the realm of Western games. There you go. The Neil Druckmann interview can be summed up with this exchange pretty well. Who gives a shit? Exactly. All right. This is another one I'm blind to, so let's find out. Naughty Dog's controversial top dog, Neil Druckmann, has finally pulled back the curtain on the studio's next big project, Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet. And of course, to no one's surprise, it looks like another heavy-handed narrative-driven game built to push thought-provoking woke themes rather than actual fun video game. Look at that. Fun. There's that word again. There's a reason I line up with Smash JT on so many things. In an interview on Sony's YouTube channel, given the direction Druckmann has taken Naughty Dog in recent years, we will never forget about Abby, buddy. It's not going to happen. Gamers have very good memories. This new game's focus on religion and faith in an alternate future immediately raises plenty of red flags all around, suggesting to me that it will be yet another extremely divisive, bloated, and pretentious experience that alienates core gamers. Yeah, well, I mean, you just look at the way they threw Pet Shop Boys in there as a cheap attempt to market the game. Cringe. Then, of course, we got plot leaks, which sound exactly like Last of Us in space, and thus are very, very believable. And yet no one has actually managed to debunk them. That was a while ago, too. Despite the negativity surrounding the release, the current comment section strikes me as heavily sanitized, almost as if they're trying to hide actual concerns. Doesn't really matter. A timeline deviating from reality and common sense. So here's the long and the short of what to expect. The game is set to take place around the year 2000, but not on our timeline. Instead, it diverges from the 1980s when a new religion apparently emerges that reshapes civilization. The mysterious faith centered on the planet Simperia appears to be the core of the game's setting, yet details remain vague beyond the fact that no one has had contact with Simperia for 600 years. Players take on the role of Jordan, a woman with a man's name, and a protagonist, in name only, who crash lands on the isolated planet with no knowledge of what happened to its people. Look at this. Look at this. Have you ever seen anything so fucking pretentious? My God. While the premise sounds to me like a sci-fi mystery, it's clear that Naughty Dog's main focus isn't on world building, but more so on creating a deeply personal experience centered on isolation, reflection, and a critical deconstruction of faith itself. I mean, get your head out of your ass, Druckmann. Druckmann's description of the game should make it abundantly clear to anyone paying attention that the story they're working on is built entirely around faith and religion, two topics he's never been subtle about handling in his previous works. Yep. It's all that secular humanist crap. I mean, I'm all for promoting humanity, but that's not really what it is it? And there you go. There's the surly, ugly cow herself, shaving her head the wrong way round with a pair of clippers that don't work that way. It's a good way to get a cut on your head, you stupid bitch. Given Naughty Dog's track record, it's easy to assume that Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet will try to be yet another attempt to challenge religious belief systems and most likely painting them as dangerous, oppressive, or outdated, while pushing a progressive narrative in their place. Because, you know, where's that freaking clip of the critical drinker when you need it? The message. With a name like the Heretic Prophet, it's not hard to guess where the story is going. I expect a storyline where religion is demonized, the protagonist struggles with identity and belonging, shaves her head to rebel, and the game's message becomes more important than the gameplay itself. Of course, it's a Neil Cuckman game. The themes, my themes. I've got to have my themes. Neil Druckmann, by the way, is the Ryan Johnson of video games. 100%. That is what he is. Not really a smart choice. The fact that the entire experience being presented here revolves around making players feel lonely and questioning the path that led them to where they are only reinforces the idea that this is yet another Druckmann-led introspective slog meant to make players feel miserable rather than entertained. Could it be more different, by the way, than what we were just talking about? Fun, 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 escapist fun, boobies, fun, 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 fun. What do we get instead here? Surly, shaven-headed, miserable cow stalking around a lonely, desolate, doomed, and fucking degraded planet, trying to just make you reflect on your own sense of self, your vulnerability to messaging, your own isolation. Fuck off, no, Neil. Just fuck off, mate. No one gives a shit. Could you be wrong, Smash JT? Of course, we can all be wrong. But I don't think it will be. Everything about Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, screams woke narrative-driven slop. There it is. Easy to guess from the teaser trailer they showcased a few months back, a game focused entirely on questioning religion, set in an alternate history where faith went wrong, and built to make players feel lost and reflective rather than entertained. It's not hard to see where this is going. Yeah, Neil loves himself, doesn't he? Look at this. Look at this. This is Gollum. Neck tattoo and everything. And of course, it's a fucking woman. With man's eyebrows. Yes, you're right. Okay, release it. Go ahead. Make my day. Naughty Dog is done. Naughty Dog is toast. All the talented people, Bruce Straley, Amy Hennig, all the people who made great games that people enjoyed are gone. Forced out by the politicking of Neil Cuckman. And what do you have to show for it, guys? You're a laughingstock. Once again. I mean, just look at this visage, right? This is a woman. Okay? Close your eyes and think for a second. What pops into your head when you think of the word woman? Okay? Femininity, you know, fertility, soft features, all that good shit. Then open your eyes and look at this. This looks like Krillin. I mean, what have you got? You've got pierced ears, of course. You've got a broken nose. No makeup. No femininity whatsoever. Shaved head. Neck tattoo. Scar. Fucking bonkers. Just a miserable... That doesn't look like a woman. That looks like a teenage boy. The face. There's nothing feminine about this character whatsoever. Another overindulgent Naughty Dog disaster, as Smash JT says. Yeah, one that will be praised by woke game journalists and all those ex-Twitter activist bots, but completely rejected by real, actual gamers. Thank God we were spared the septum piercing. Well, seems that this creature has taken out any such piercings. There's definitely a dot there where an earring should be, though. Or would be, anyway, if this person wasn't doing what they're doing. At this point, Naughty Dog isn't even trying to hide their agenda. They've abandoned the fun, adventurous spirit that once defined them. Right? Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, and have fully embraced being a platform for fucking useless fucking computer. Ideological storytelling. If Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet is the next big project, then it's Jesus Christ. Safe to say that Naughty Dog's decline is far from over. But this isn't even the most troubling aspect of the interview. Adding to the growing list of red flags, it appears that Naughty Dog is engaging in some serious comment section manipulation. There you go. Crazy number of deleted comments and replies on this vid. Many of the replies to critical comments are mysteriously disappearing. And scrolling through the entire comment section reveals nothing but strangely enthusiastic bot-like comments feigning excitement for the game. Neil is such an amazing writer, such an inspiration. Especially Tulu Part 2 with Helly Gross. It never fails to have a huge impact on me emotionally. Just love this franchise so much. Thank you, Neil. Franchise. It's amazing when another creator can give a compliment as big as yours was way better than mine. I literally don't understand how people can hate Neil Druckmann. He's one of the most humble creators, but for some reason people like to call him pretentious. Well, I'm sorry that you lack the ability to actually tell anything that's going on. When you were a teenager, you had a pierced ear, Adam. Yeah, I had 2 earrings in my left ear until about 3 months ago. Took them out because baby girl was pulling my ears a lot. Yeah, this is just fucking stupid. I mean, these comments are purest cringe. There is no humility in Neil Cuckman whatsoever. The guy is absolutely sniffing his own farts. If you ever saw the interview that he did with, or some of a few interviews that he did with Greg fucking Miller on Kinda Funny, pure cringe. It's just them blowing smoke up his ass the whole time. Troy Baker as well. There are a lot of dislikes. 842. Yeah. I wonder if that's gone up at all. Let's have a look. Neil Druckmann, creator to creator. Let's see. Let's have a quick look here. Where are we now? Oh, yeah. It's definitely gone up. Now we're looking at... oh, that's interesting. Hang on. Let me just look at this article again here. 2.9 thousand dislikes to 800. Sorry, 2.9 thousand, nearly 3,000 likes to 842 dislikes. And this came out yesterday or a day ago, at least. And at the time, everything was a day old. Right. So 2 days ago, it had 3,000 likes and 842 dislikes. And now it has 0.4, so 400 more likes and now 2,500 dislikes. There's a ratio that's happening. That's catching up. Interesting. Anyway, this kind of artificial engagement reeks of, fuck's sake, strong desperation, and it wouldn't be the first time a major studio or publisher tried to manufacture positivity when faced with overwhelming backlash. Not even the fucking 50th time, mate. We know this happens. We've seen it 100 times now. We've seen it with Star Wars. We've seen it with Marvel. We've seen it with everything. Never sticks around for long, though. They eventually get bored. They eventually give up. And that's when the real comments start to pour in. I mean, just for fun, if you want, you can go and write whatever you think on there. I'm not going to tell you what to do. But if you decided it would be funny to go and, you know, tell people how you actually feel on this video, I'm not going to stop you. We want engaging worlds, compelling gameplay, and stories that don't beat us over the head with ideological message nonsense. If this is the game that Naughty Dog is banking on, then they might be in for a rude awakening with this so-called thought-provoking experience. Bombs harder than a spaceship, crash landing on Superior, but time will certainly tell. I'm very curious to see where this goes. Absolutely right. Fucking hell, that bar is empty. Oh, well. So there you go. Yeah. Look, Naughty Dog, you're screwed. You're cucked. You're done. You're going nowhere. Neil Druckmann is... No, I'm not Australian. I'm English. Neil Druckmann is a pretentious wanker. He is. He is full of shit. He's so high on his own farts. And he's surrounded himself with obvious toadying yes men who never tell him what actually is going on. He is constantly and routinely encouraged to make this pretentious shit. Compare, like, The Last of Us 2, for example. Or even The Last of Us 1. No, The Last of Us 1 still had that spirit of adventure, a little bit of comedy in there, a little bit of fun. Thanks to Bruce Straley, of course. Compare that Last of Us 2 experience to Uncharted 2. Or Uncharted 1, even. Uncharted was a series that was meant to sound a lot, meant to feel like kind of like an 80s popcorn flick. You know, Nathan Drake, witty banter, island adventure, you know, shoot first, ask questions later, that kind of thing. Fun. Fun. Now, what do we have? Miserable, maudlin, introspective, pretentious. That's all it is. It's just pure pretension. Neil, you are fucking screwed, buddy. Anyway, let's have a look at something else entirely. something completely random that just happened to make me kind of chuckle. So I decided it would be a bit fun to go down the rabbit hole and see where it leads, because it's hilarious. So we're going to go over to Lotus Eaters, who, if you don't know, are a British alternate news company that is run and started and owned by Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, who of course is Gamergate1. Don't worry, we all had blue hair at one point, Adam. I did too, back when it was punk, not, you know, what it is now. Anyway, yeah, so this is kind of, it seems connected to another video that Sargon did on his own channel, which was about how politics differs and how Trump and people like him represent great men of history as a political model, which flies in the face of the EU. That is all about systems and rules and things like that. And so these guys, they like to get together and have what they call man time streams, or some boys night, or boys time, or something, where they just sit around and chat shit about pop culture as well as reporting the news. These are fun, but they are also like loosely connected to the thoughts and talking points that they tend to lean on in their main news reporting. So when I saw this, the intergalactic rules-based Jedi Order, I thought, oh, Christ, someone's finally done it. Someone's going to actually analyze the Jedi as they were and work out if they were the source of their own undoing, thanks to their inability to run away from rules-based order. So I'm interested to see what goes on with this. We're going to have a look at this, have a little bit of a chuckle as we wind down the stream toward the end.
As to your point, Carl, about the clone army and the fact that it means that the Republic don't have to be emotionally connected with the war that's actually going on. Yeah, they can keep funding the money and everything, but fundamentally, it's not their children dying on the battlefield.
Ukraine all over.
Oh, it's Ukraine. Very good. Yeah, as the boy over here, I can't think of his name now, has just said, it's Ukraine. It's just like that. Give money, put blue and yellow flags in your bio, and you are about as connected to the war as the citizens of the Republic are to the civil war that happens in the prequel trilogy with the clone army. You build an army of absolutely dispensable clone soldiers with a lot of their humanity bred out of them. And by the way, whatever happened to all those clones? And I don't necessarily want anyone who's watched Disney Wars to answer that. But whatever, anyway, let's carry on.
Over again.
Right.
Yeah.
However, but the one thing it does make a personal connection to, and the way that Palpatine maneuvers it, is that it's the Jedi that are on the front line of the war itself.
Point.
The Jedi become the peacekeeping force, become generals in
themselves.
Yeah, that's funny. That's actually really interesting, because that is one of the sort of lesser sung elements of what I consider still to be great movies, the prequels. I know, not necessarily the most popular opinion, but I have my opinion. I like it. They force the Jedi into a position where they have to be on the front lines leading the battles as generals rather than as peacekeepers. So in essence, they've already had to destroy their entire philosophy in order to participate in the war in the first place. Thus, it also, you see it manifests as them being spread out, separated from each other, which makes them easier targets when the time finally comes for Order 66.
Themselves have been indoctrinated from birth and kept away from all emotional connection. Yeah. So the whole thing, and you can tell that this society...
Are you guys still going on about blue hair and Prince Alberts? What the fuck, chat? A Prince Albert is a penis piercing. There you go.
is broken and kept away from all emotional connection.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, and you can tell that this society is broken. When they walk into a bar at the beginning of whatever it was, Attack of the Clones, and he's there at the bar for 2 seconds before he gets offered hard narcotics, right? And
Hard what? Narcotics. Death sticks, yeah. Which is what people call fucking cigarettes in the real world, but wherever they are in the Star Wars universe, I mean, it's a bit on the nose, George. I don't think people tend to say, you know, would you like to buy some lung cancer? You know. Yeah, you're welcome. Don't worry, guys. I just straight up decided to tell you so that we could put paid to that conversation once and for all. No, Prince Albert is a cock ring, a cock piercing. Goes through the urethra, as I understand, and out the bottom. Ugh, fucking awful. I don't know. I mean, okay, fuck it. You want to talk about that? Let's talk about that. How the fuck do you ever have a successful piss again without friendly fire if you take it out? Or even if you don't take it out, how the fuck do you have to put your finger over it or something? How are you supposed to piss? What a stupid fucking idea. Anyway, that's enough of that.
And there's prostitution, there's gambling going on everywhere.
That's a good point, actually, though. Yeah, Coruscant is such a sinful fucking place. You sit down to piss. Yeah, for the rest of your life. Congrats. You get a cock ring, a cock piercing to make yourself... I don't know why. I guess it's fun for the ladies or something. I don't fucking know. I don't have one. But for the rest of your life, you can't pee like a man. All right. Good deal.
There's open slave trading going on in the fringes of the Republic. There's massive poverty.
I mean, Luke is literally a slave.
Yeah, you can.
Like, Anakin is literally a slave.
Yeah, and you can see that this is a
not
broken society.
Yeah.
All of
Luke's not a slave. Anakin is a slave. Yeah. Yeah, it's entirely fucked up. The Republic before the Empire comes along is also a completely terrible fucking place.
these separatist worlds peel away the moment there is an alternative.
The Jedi are like, we can't have that. It's like, why don't you fix the problems? Bro?
This is a civilization that is deeply broken, and the only way you can hold it together is with child soldiers and indoctrinated cultist generals.
That is complete.
That is very funny. That's some wild take on Star Wars, but it's actually also fucking true. So, oof, there you go.
Completely correct.
Yes. That is quite.
I mean, one of the long-standing criticisms is why aren't the Jedi's doing something about all the slaves? It's like,
yeah, why aren't they? Why is no one doing anything? Well, I mean, the slaves are largely in the outer rim, I suppose. So, but why aren't they? No, it's not GBTV. This is Lotus Eaters. These guys are great. They're completely independent. They're based. They're created. The creation of the guy in the bottom here, which is Carl Benjamin, who is also known as Sargon of Akkad, former Gamergate 1 YouTuber, who I watch frequently and have featured before on the channel on this very show, because he's a fucking great thinker. And all of these guys are very smart, a little bit hyper nerdy, but very, very clever blokes. And they break down the news and they talk about philosophy and culture and stuff like that as well on the channel, and it's a lot of fun. You should definitely check out the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. I know the name is not the most easy to remember, but do check them out. And then every now and then they just have a bit of a laugh, sort of after hours. They grab a couple of beers and sit around, talk shit about pop culture because it's fun.
And indoctrinated cultist generals.
That is completely correct.
Yes, that is quite.
I mean,
that is fucking hilariously true. MagesGuild, you're a Star Wars boy. What do you think about this?
The problems.
This is
Oh, wait, here you are. The $10. Fucking hell. Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you. You determined to try and fill that bar up solo. Thanks. Appreciate it. Says, still trying to fix my sleep schedule. Insomnia. That sucks. That sucks. For what it's worth, I had about 3 hours sleep before this stream, and I'm going back to bed afterwards before I have to wake up, make videos, and get ready for, well, maybe a gaming stream. And then, of course, WTF Live later. So, yeah, I've basically had to divide my sleep time into 2 sessions a day now. But that's fine. I enjoy what I do, so no problem there. Says, feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I can only hear that in Will Ferrell's voice. With all the news since Monday, the Republic was screwed over by the Sith plan. It wasn't always that bad. Yeah, I think you're right. I think maybe they are just sort of they'll take their own biases into it, and that's fine. But yeah, I mean, there's not actually any real good, even in the Jedi, because they've become tied down with bureaucracy. And it's people like Qui-Gon Jinn, who is a maverick Jedi because he actually follows the will of the Force directly, rather than, you know, going, oh, well, we have to be benign and just keep the peace, you know, like the rest of the Jedi. And you just look at the temple with the archives and stuff like that, and how easy it is to delete stuff from the archives. No, the Jedi are already massively compromised by the time of the prequel trilogy. So yeah, it is the Sith plan. You're right. The entire Republic is being manipulated into ruin by the Sith. Yeah. And that, of course, is designed to set up the exact circumstances that will result in a civil war. You're back for another 2. Say, I know Sargon, he's brilliant, good bloke. Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad. I mean, that guy is a hero of mine, so that's fantastic. I didn't know you knew him. Brilliant. And thank you for the combined $12. Let me give you a
Drop it.
boobies. Everybody loves boobies. Adam Juman for $5 says, here you go. The Jedi and the trans people are the same. Both try to take kids. Whoa. Hot take. Fucking hot take. I mean, I guess I'd like to think that the Jedi have better ideas for what to do with those kids, but I mean, at the same time, yeah, there's a lot of wrong. There's a lot of wrong in that. So there you go. Thank you very much.
A civilization that is deeply broken, and the only way you can hold it together is with child soldiers and indoctrinated cultist generals.
That is completely correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is quite correct.
I mean, one of the long-standing criticisms is why aren't the Jedi's doing something about all the slaves? It's like,
yeah, well, it's not their jurisdiction, but you would have expected.
Okay, so he's actually right. It's not their jurisdiction, but then the Jedi shouldn't have jurisdiction. They should be the will of the Force. MagesGuild for another 5. The downfall of the Jedi and how they were perverted was due to rogue actors tied into the Sith via Darth Plagueis. Yeah, Palpatine furthered that plan. Yeah, the EU stories of how they brought the Republic to heel and to its knees ultimately is just really quite well thought out, actually. And this is why it's disgusting that the EU was removed from canon, because it was so well thought out. So many good ideas were shared between the writers and Lucas, and then just wiped out in favor of Rey fucking Palpatine. Disgusting. Thank you, MagesGuild.
Expected them to go to the.
Oh, it's not my job, mate. You know.
Yeah.
Just,
Right.
Oh, you know, don't worry about those child slaves.
Can I just come up on one of your points, Connor, as
Jedi
well, about
would not
Anakin
be
and the actual trauma of his
uncorrupted.
childhood? Because you're absolutely right, Dan. But when it says about, when Yoda and the Jedi and the Phantom Menace saying that Anakin's too old, right? What they're really getting at is the fact he's already formed a really personal connection with his mother, right?
He's harder to indoctrinate into this
Right.
nonsense
Harder to
about the
diddle.
Jedi.
Yeah, it's harder to diddle.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
but the fact of the matter is, so then Anakin gets
Don't use terms like diddle, for Christ's sakes.
And Qui-Gon is obviously killed by Maul at the end of the Phantom Menace, and Qui-Gon was someone who would have had the patience to have been the father figure that Anakin desperately needed in his.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the great tragedy of Qui-Gon Jinn, is that he is the kind of Jedi that Luke Skywalker supposedly becomes. One that is led by Yoda. Yoda now no longer an embodiment of a bloated, corrupt bureaucracy, but free to reconnect with the Force and follow its actual will. Teaches Luke to, again, just follow the Force, which is what Qui-Gon Jinn was touting. This is my opinion, of course. But it seems to me that like the way that Qui-Gon Jinn interacts with the Force is very similar to a far less rules-based approach to the light side of the Force. So it's much more in having a personal relationship, in much the same way as many people choose not to follow organized religion these days and instead just have a personal relationship with the Almighty, myself included. Seems like the better course. So the fact that Qui-Gon is the one that gets removed and Obi-Wan gets manipulated through the systems of control that are governing everything and forced to be a general in the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars weren't actually about the war. They were about demoralizing and destabilizing the Republic, of course. And the Jedi are just a part of that as well, to weaken the fuck out of them until they can be easily got rid of. When you see Obi-Wan Kenobi again, 20 years later or whatever, he, again, himself is much more like the way that Qui-Gon Jinn deals with the Force in The Phantom Menace. He's much more in pure alignment with listening to the Force rather than listening to his superiors. Again, this is all my opinion, my interpretation, but isn't it funny how 2 minutes of video can get you thinking so much? MagesGuild knows. $5. Kid snatching was a Dave Filoni idea introduced in Clone Wars, over which George had basically no input or concern. That was not George's story. That's right. That's right. They don't snatch children. That was never supposed to be the thing. It was supposed to be, we identify that you have an incredible amount of acute connection to the Force, sensitivity to the Force, little kid. Would you like to become a great hero of the Force? That's supposed to be what it is. But of course, it's 1,000-generation-old philosophy that has been kind of perverted and in practice doesn't work out that way. Fuck Dave Filoni, by the way, and fuck Clone Wars, and fuck Ahsoka Tano, and basically fuck anything that wasn't made by George Lucas or one of the better writers of the EU. Thank you again, buddy. Thank you. And wait, before I even get a chance to play a sound for you, you've come back with another $2. You really are trying to fill this bar up by yourself, aren't you? It's going very well. Thank you. We're almost there. Anyway, Filoni also fucked up Force Ghosts all backwards. Yes, absolutely. That's right. Yeah. I mean, not as badly as Rian Johnson fucked up Force Ghosts. Force Ghosts that can actually interact with the world. That is a big problem. Because then it's like, well, why didn't Obi-Wan just fly into the Death Star with a fucking nuke strapped to his Force Ghost back? And, you know, it's bonkers. Anyway, there you go. Thank you very much, MagesGuild.
Life, and Obi-Wan can only really ever be a brother figure to him. He can't fill that father role, and this is fundamentally how Kenobi fails him. And so Anakin is desperately trying to hold his world together. All he has is the Jedi.
I don't think the Jedi were as rotten as the Sith. The Sith delight in corruption. They delight in dwelling only on the self, whereas the Jedi are, in their basic philosophy, supposed to prioritize others, everything outside themselves, which is why they own nothing except their lightsaber and their braid.
Jedi Order. The Jedi Order is his life, and he can't just leave it. But he also
indoctrinated.
But he also But he also desperately loves this woman that he's told he's not allowed to love. And so
well, he's not. But then again, that's again a great big fucking dogmatic mistake of the Jedi. who are all dead, and no one is around to stop Luke Skywalker later. And I'm going with EU here because it's the only true canon, from marrying Mara Jade and having children. So there you go. And I mean, of course, Leia as well has kids with Han Solo. And they all become Jedi. You know, it is what it is. It's necessary. Dramatica Law is here to say snake people, which I saw her cooking up in my chat during the last Weekend stream. It's a thing. Watch Will's gaming streams to know. Yeah, there you go. You should. They're fun. We do a lot of silly things, and Dramatica Law cheerleads the whole way through and keeps everybody entertained as well. So thank you very much for giving people something to talk crap about while I play games to entertain them as well. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Anakin's attempt to hold on to everything, he loses everything.
And also, all it takes to subvert Anakin is...
That is, of course, the great irony of Anakin Skywalker as well. Yes, he seeks to control everything in his life to the point where... And you know, there's an interesting philosophy that the opposite of love is not actually hate. Of course it's not. In most cases, it's the absence of love. But in the case of when you're trying to isolate the reasons people do things, the two impulses that are opposing each other are love and fear. Everything Anakin does comes from fear. He is trying to protect things because he can't stand to lose them. Which is, of course, why you get fear leads to hate, hate leads, or fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, which is literally Darth Vader's life story in a few words.
It's just Palpatine asking questions, right?
Mages Guild for $10. Fucking hell, guys. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. Darth Bane, Sith Code. Yeah. That is the idea of the binary opposition between Jedi and Sith, in as much as what they call passion very often manifests itself as pure selfishness. The Jedi are about benignity and passivity, which is why they lose, frankly. Luke manages to ride the line and embrace control of his anger at Darth Vader, which is how he beats him. I mean, it's not by accident that it's only when Luke snaps in Return of the Jedi that he actually overpowers and defeats Vader, but then he regains his senses, regains composure, maintains control. It's balance, which is, you know, another theme of the series. There are a billion ways to interpret all this. Thank you very much, Mages Guild, you legend. Damn it, another one. $2. I went with Star Wars Complained because I know the lore. Yes, I'm sure you do. It seems you know a lot of the lore, which is great because a lot of mine is cobbled together. And we will talk about that one day. One day soon. Thank you. Yeah, and if you want to follow Mages Guild on YouTube, you absolutely can at Star Wars Complained. That's his channel. You should 100% be checking out that channel. It's very good. And thank you for your continued support. We're now we're literally only like $3, less than $3 away from making the goal now. So crying out loud. In fact, with that one membership, we probably are literally less than like $2 from filling the goal. So wow.
Yeah, tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
But if you think about it,
Darth Plagueis the Wise. Yeah, wise. Okay.
This is exactly the sort of mirror of the left-wing cult indoctrination, right? It's like, no. The Sith are evil and we're just going to kill them wherever we find them. So we're not debating over a series of doctrines here. No, we're just going to murder you. Okay. And so what happens? Palpatine's like, well, you know, there are things that I can tell you that are true that will have real-world effects. So,
poof. Wow, what is that? I don't even know that currency. ZAR is South African Rand. Wow. There you go. That's amazing. Huh. I didn't know that. That's cool. Thank you. It says, wow, for 14 of them, which is like a buck, I think. Wow. It says closer to 100%. And thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. Wow, you guys are great. Wow. And then Mages Guild for 5, tipping it over the edge. Jedi focus on peace and tranquility. The Sith focus on raw emotion. It's literally stoicism versus passion, masculine versus feminine concepts. Fucking right. Fucking A. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And by the way, thank you. We just hit our goal. Damn, man. We were nowhere near for the entire stream. And in the last 20 minutes, it just goes bang. Thank you.
Money, 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 print money, money, cash, money, wealth, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, money, more money, 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 heaps and heaps of money, 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 print money, money, cash, money, wealth, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, money, super chat, money.
As salty as the sea, calling us no-code names. SJW screaming, but it's money they blame. Burning with envy, they're falling flat. They can't handle the sound of a super chat.
Yeah, Felton those journo trash. Thank you very much, everybody. That is it. We hit the goal. We are gonna be gaming a little bit later on after I get some much needed shut eye. And guys, go and check out this video and plenty of others at Podcast of the Lotus Eaters. They are a fan-fucking-tastic channel. They don't only cover British stuff either. They do world politics and news stories and everything. They're big fans of Trump, obviously. Well, most of them are anyway. And yeah, it's a great channel with a little bit of nerdy culture in there as well. I kind of wanted to watch more of this, but I'm also glad that we didn't get to see the whole thing because now you're incentivized to go over there and check them out. We are at 2 hours. That is it for this show. I'm sure plenty of you are going to be heading over to my colleague Hypnotic for Hypnocast. So enjoy that. I probably won't be in the chat today because I am knackered and I got to go back to bed. But thank you, absolutely everybody, for coming and checking out HyperDrive Time, episode 33. My God, we're almost... No, we are a third of the way to 100 episodes already. Jesus Christ. This is going to overtake WTF Live very quickly. Okay, I'll be back same time tomorrow, but before that, I'll be back in a few hours' time with some Suikoden for you guys, and of course, I'll be back again after that in about 12 hours' time with WTF Live, so don't miss that either. In the meantime, thank you very much to everybody who has been here for the duration. Appreciate you all very much. Special thanks to John Grant, Eben Terblunch, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And if I'm not, I apologize. Mages Guild, a bunch of times. Adam Juneman, Mages Guild. Eben again. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for keeping me and my family afloat. Love you all. I'm going to leave you with the credits for now. And we will see you later. Take care.